I'm Danny Cox. Come fly with me. Let's go break some records.
Mighty Mouse 1, clear for takeoff.
Accelerations. The person who causes faster movement, higher efficiency, and increased productivity. One who boldly crosses barriers. An adventurer at high speed.
For 10 years, I've pushed supersonic fighters through the sound barrier and up to almost twice the speed of sound. Later on in the business world, I became fascinated with barriers to better leadership and higher productivity. But even more so, how these self-imposed barriers could be broken through in individuals as well as organizations. The techniques I developed helped me build an industry-leading sales team and resulted in an 800% increase in productivity in a 5.5-year period. These same leadership techniques I now share in management leadership programs or high-performance techniques with audiences of salespeople or employees. Join up nice and close on my wing and let's fly through some excerpts.
Thunderbirds heard about me. They said, hey, we hear you're doing an air show with an airplane that's not used in air shows. I said, you're right. Squirreliest thing in the Air Force inventory. They said, we want to interview you. I went through a 6-hour interview with the Thunderbirds. And at the end of the 6 hours, the leader of the team walked over, stuck his hand out to me, said, congratulations, you made it. I said, fantastic. Get to fly with the cream of the crop. But it was not to be. They said, no, we need all-weather pilots. Cox can't go. That knocked me out of flying with the team. I said, that ripped it. That did it. The Air Force has been asking for this. They're going to get it. Plan B. And I executed Plan B. I sent in my resignation knowing that would shape up the Air Force. And they signed it. I was a civilian overnight trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So I headed out for the West Coast to fly with the airlines, knowing they would be ecstatic to get a hold of the hottest thing in the skies. Wrong. They loved me as long as I was talking to them on the phone. They said, 2,400 hours of high-performance fighter time, test pilot, air show pilot, never had an accident. I said, that's it. Kind of guy we're looking for. We're mailing you an application today. Well, I had already discovered I had a problem as far as the airlines were concerned. Perhaps some of you have already figured out what that problem is. I said, before you waste a stamp, what are the height requirements for flying with your airline? They said, 5 feet 8. I said, what a coincidence. That happens to be my goal. A goal I am obviously still working on. You back there, he didn't look that short. Watch this. That's why I work on platforms. Anyway, I tried my best to convince him I wasn't short. I just wound tight. So I joined this big sales company, sold for a year. End of the year, looked at what I'd earned. I said, not bad. I earned more selling than I'd ever earned as a test pilot on hazardous duty pay, and I didn't have to worry about getting killed that year in selling. Well, I can't say that either. There were a couple of customers that year I wasn't real sure about. I wasn't into customer service like I am now, but I thought, this is a good thing. The company came to me and said, I want you to take over the top office out of our 36-office chain. Well, I could hardly wait to get back to that top office because that's also where I'd been a brand new salesperson the first year out of the Air Force. You could not even begin to imagine how those top people in that number one office, who remembered me as the brand new guy from the year before, the rookie from right out of the Air Force, now welcome me back as their boss. Maybe you could imagine. They hated me with a passion. I kept saying to them, don't think of me as the boss. Just think of me as a friend who's always right. You can imagine how well it worked. I took that office from first place. You're ahead of me. To 36th out of 36 offices in 3 months' time. Totally wiped that son of a gun out.
Supersonic Fighter is like an organization of talented people. You can get a lot out of it if you know how to handle it. If you push it too high, too fast, and place unrealistic demands on it, the whole organization, like my airplane, can tumble out of control right out of the sky. I did just that in my airplane, as well as in the office I managed. Only 3 pilots out of 9 before me had survived one of those violent pitch-ups. When my office was going down in flames, it didn't look like I was going to be able to pull out before I crashed and burned.
I knew I was in trouble. About that time, my boss showed up at my doorway. He said, I made a mistake by making you a manager, and I feel it only fair to let you know I'm now looking for your replacement. I said, now right there is not only the shortest, but the finest motivational seminar I have ever attended. I'm going to have to learn how to do this. He said, my boy, you don't have much time. I said, you have no idea how motivated I am. So I went to work on me, not them. Did you catch that?
To pull out of the pitch-up in my fighter, I popped the drag chute, got the air flowing over the wings again, and stabilized the aircraft after tumbling 30,000 feet. At the office, I also stopped trying to force the controls. When I backed off and started working on improving me, the downward spiral stopped, and we all started to climb again. My audiences love to hear how an ordinary person like me faced so many life-threatening situations and lived to tell the story. When I share my disasters, narrow escapes, and successes in the business world, everyone in the audience relates to a crisis or challenge that he or she has personally faced. Whenever I give programs on leadership, customer service, or personal high performance, people go away with a desire to break old habits and try new things.